What Ike Allen and Andy Anderson have created at AVAIYA is what the world needs.
Hello, AVAIYA family. I'm Andy Anderson. My partner, Ike Allen, and I are teachers, mentors, and the co-owners of AVAIYA University. AVAIYA is the creator of over 1,000 books, films, courses, teachings, and other supportive resources. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Our fellow teacher, Dr. Ameet Aggarwal, is back with us today to talk about healing abandonment, self-esteem, and shame with homeopathy, psychotherapy, and family constellations therapy. Voted one of the top 43 therapists worldwide, Dr. Ameet helps you heal the root cause of mood problems and physical illness by focusing on healing personal trauma, negative beliefs, your ancestral trauma, and your biology. He combines naturopathic and functional medicine, Gestalt psychotherapy, EMDR, family constellations, and homeopathy to help you heal your mind and body together. Welcome back to AVAIYA, Dr. Ameet.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks. I'm really excited to help people break through toxic shame and, really heal their self-esteem, because shame from early childhood, damages somebody's self-esteem and makes us go into dysfunctional relationships, even codependency relationships. So I want to share how all that is intertwined and how we can use homeopathy to heal shame from childhood, as well as look at family entanglements, your loyalty to your mother, your father, or family trauma, and how that is keeping you also stuck and codependent.
Wonderful. Well, I look forward to all of that. And let's get started with, in codependency, oftentimes people can feel worthless unless they feel needed, or unless they're protecting something, unless they're taking care of someone. So they become a giver, and this can become a dysfunctional kind of giving eventually. How is this related to childhood trauma or someone's relationship with their parents?
Okay, good question. So a lot of this sense of low self-worth in a relationship and, oh gosh, I got to give to feel needed or to be seen or to even feel safe in the relationship, to belong to the relationship, often comes from feeling unsupported during childhood. Number one, you are not looked at enough or recognized enough by your parents. That's one mini trauma that we don't recognize as a trauma. The other thing that happens is if your mom or dad was too busy, occupied either in their own fighting, or maybe your mom was preoccupied with the death of her parents. So at an energetic level, she's not really available to connect with you, or same with your father. What happens is we're looking for validation all the time, and we have to try really hard to get our parents' attention. And then when we try really hard, or we make a mistake, or we, serve them tea or give them food or really serve them to get that bond, then we associate serving with receiving love, and doing with receiving love. And it's not that the parents on purpose rejected you, it's they were preoccupied and absent in that connection or their availability to love you fully and be really present with you. So neither of you are aware of that gap. And that will create these unconscious behaviors of needing to do too much in a relationship and feeling a lack of self-worth. So lack of self-worth often comes from a lack of upbringing or nourishment from a parent. Our self-worth often comes from that nourishment, sense of connection, belonging, groundedness with our parents. And it's funny, I just realized groundedness, because self-worth and self-esteem often ties into money as well. How do you value yourself? How do you grow as a person and receive money? And so our root chakra is what keeps us grounded. And if there's no nourishment from your roots, from your parents, and no stability at home, you might feel not good enough, not worth it enough. So you'll ask for less in life. And so this could really tie in even to your financial abundance.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Like piecing something together that I hadn't really thought of. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because not that many people talk about, financial well-being as it relates to all of these different topics, of codependency, self-esteem, all of that, and how obviously important it is to have healthy financial well-being. And yes, I can see why if someone doesn't have the self-worth, then of course that's going to reflect potentially in their bank account. So that's a good point.
And they're always giving, right? They're always giving and serving. So they're not really doing stuff for themselves. Even though it sounds selfish, we have to do things for our own self-growth, our own self-healing, and also to be able to receive universal energy, yeah, from light or from the universe or from resources outside of the relationship. Yeah, if we're always serving the partner and trying to get feedback from them, we're depending only on one person to make us feel valuable and valid. And so in a way, you're suffocating your life energy because you're channeling it only to one person.
That's a good quote. Suffocating your life energy because you're channeling it to only one person. That's right. For people who are watching right now, who have that codependent tendency, and tend to, project that onto a partner or a child or who knows what. That's, yeah, absolutely. Because then there's no other right part of you doing other things in the world, or, all your energy is focused on that one thing, that one task or role. Yeah. So let's talk about how we can overcome this, right? So I know you talk about family constellations therapy as well as psychotherapy as it relates to this. So how can one utilize these modalities to heal this self-esteem, this codependency, this toxic shame?
So toxic shame, we'll use homeopathy, and I'll describe some remedies. I want to go into this codependency first. So in family constellations, we have healing sentences that help resolve these unconscious stress experiences that we're not realizing that are stressing us. Yeah, these unconscious gaps in love, in connection with our family. So let's use different examples of family systems or family scenarios and find the healing sentences for each one as best as possible. I need to say, though, that the healing sentences are different for each person. So the ones I'm going to mention might fit your needs and might not. So a typical example is, let's say, mom is abandoned by dad. And so mom feels rejected. And whether dad's an alcoholic or works too much or seeing other women, mom is suffering. And so you start taking care of mom or taking mom's side in a way. So you become like mom's protector or surrogate partner, and you reject your father. In that loyalty to mom, mom looks at you with love and kindness, because like, wow, you really see my pain. So in a way, you become more loyal to her suffering. And you're not free to live your life fully because you're loyal to this suffering. So there's an entanglement, what we call entanglement. And it's not done on purpose. It's out of love. It's natural, but it creates suffering and dysfunctionality and sadness and depression long term. But we don't realize it's happening at that time. So now you're getting all this feedback from mom for bonding with her, right? You're serving. And then you go into a relationship, your idea of reciprocation or connection is really, I can do this for you. I can protect you. I can serve you. I can save you from your pain. Yeah. So you become a rescuer in your relationship, and you expect your partner to respond with appreciation and gratitude. But lo and behold, a partner you find might even actually feel resentful towards you because you're suffocating them, right? Because you're projecting that they need help like how you were serving during childhood. So a healing sentence is, first of all, to become aware that these patterns are coming not from your partner, but from your parents. Okay. And you can say, dear mom, I see your pain. I see what you carry with dad. I respectfully leave this between the two of you because you're the big ones. I am the child. Yeah. Or please bless me. Please look at me in a friendly way. Please look at me with love, as I respect you enough to be able to handle this in your own journey, and bless me as your child so that I don't need to carry this with you or for you. And if that's too difficult for you to say, you can actually acknowledge with your mom, and she doesn't have to be there. We do this online or in group sessions where people are representing your mother. You can say, I carry this with you and I will carry this with you. Just that statement itself, those of you listening, will transform your awareness of your pattern. Yeah, it'll transform the pattern because you'll have a sudden awareness of how you're carrying this burden of your mother's, right, and that it's not really serving you to carry this burden.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Okay.
I mean, what you just described is literally my childhood. So you did a great job of intuitively pulling that out. And I'm sure so many people watching have similar stories, but the alcoholic father and the abandonment and the betrayal. And yes, there was certainly a lot of entanglement after they split up, because I unconsciously, didn't know it till I was like in my 30s, but was taking care of her. I was like, oh, I need to be here. I need to, play the partner role, and need to, I remember sleeping in the same bed with her up until I was like 14 or something, because I just felt like I had to be there. But that was beautiful. I appreciate those sentences. It just, super hit home for me. So anything else you want to share about the healing sentences as it relates to codependency?
I just want to acknowledge what you just shared, Andy, because that's pretty vulnerable. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was special. Because the protection of the mother and taking her side, we really think our parents are suffering and weak. And so we stop growing. We stop growing because we feel guilty about growing into our full essence and being, right? Because we have to protect this little child or our parent, but we've made them a suffering person. So it's almost like you don't give yourself permission to thrive in life.
Yeah.
And there's a guilt that comes with thriving in life, thriving more than your family, your parents.
Right. Yeah. And there's also, some of the guilt I've experienced in my journey, and hopefully this can relate to other people's, is guilt around wanting a healthy romantic partnership and those kinds of things. For a long time, that was right there for me, and recognizing that's something I wanted, even though she went on to not want relationships after my dad left and chose to be single. And recognizing like the things that we want for ourselves, as opposed to what, following in our parents' footsteps, so to speak.
Absolutely. And this is the power of family constellations. We feel into the imbalances that are coming because of trauma from your parents, from your ancestors, from your grandparents, whether it's this relationship dynamic issue I'm talking about, or a murder, miscarriage, abortions. All these things have an impact on the system. The order in which you're born. If there's a child before you who's miscarried or aborted, some of the videos we've done before in AVAIYA have described healing sentences for those as well. So these can create codependency issues. Let's move on to shame and homeopathy, I think.
Let's so first off, with toxic shame, it's a term that I'm curious, what are your thoughts on what toxic shame means, as opposed to just the word shame?
Okay, so healthy shame is actually life-giving, I find. When we're embarrassed or feel a bit of shame temporarily and it doesn't sink deep in, and there's a certain energizing feeling we get. And it's tied into our sexuality and our individuality. So it's a way of accessing life energy. The thing is, because of history of different things going on in the world, whether it's, perpetration, guilt complexes, organized religion, etc., that shame energy is often shut down.